Hello, Chris.
Hi there, how you doing?
Oh, thanks. Not too shabby. And how about yourself?
I'm not doing too badly, thank you.
So, are you ready for the questions?
Certainly, please fire away.
Okay. How did you like last year's edition of our festival?
I had a really good time. I really enjoyed myself coming to speak at your conference or festival. It's funny actually, when you say festival, it conjures up images of beer and music, but you got that at least half right.
Oh, yes, that's a figure of translation. What are your best memories with that event?
Well, I think the thing that struck me the most about the festival was just what your hospitality was like, how good the hospitality was. It's probably the only festival or conference I've ever spoken at where I've had full red carpet treatment, been picked up at the airport by the main organisers, taken to my hotel, given chocolate, taken to drop my bags off, and then taken straight into town to get some decent Polish beer at kind of midnight, half midnight when I arrived. So I really enjoyed it in that sense.
Did you enjoy Krakow during your stay? And I mean, not only the conference, but also the city.
I thought that Krakow was very beautiful. I really enjoyed being there. I'm quite a big fan of architecture, so it was lovely to walk around the main town square and everywhere and see some of the beautiful buildings you have in the city.
What are your plans for the time when we are hosting this year's edition?
Well, you guys already asked me if I could speak at this year's festival, and I had to decline. It's a real pain because I would love to come again, but hopefully next year. This year, I'm actually going to go and speak at the South by Southwest conference in the US, talking about some CSS3 and progressive enhancement and alternatives stuff. But unfortunately, the two clash, so alas, I could not make it.
Could you tell us what are you working on right now, or is it some kind of opera's top secret?
I'm trying to think. I'm really just trying to get back into work after the craziness of Christmas and New Year celebrations. Often takes a while. At the moment, I'm writing quite a few articles for dev.opera.com. Some interesting things coming up. I'm trying to think about the exact features that we're writing about at the moment. We've recently released a few articles about things like cores, cross-origin resource sharing, and I'm also currently doing a lot of research into some of the new typography features inside CSS3, like ligatures and hyphenation.
Before we started the interview, you said that you're writing a book. Could you tell us something about it?
Sure thing, yeah. The book is going to be out probably in the second half of the year, and it's at the moment the working title is CSS3 user interfaces. Quite a few books have already been written about CSS3, but I'm trying to write a book that much more heavily concentrates on the whole real world usage thing, because so many people just write about whizzy crazy features that are really cool and funky and spangly and only work in WebKit nightly, so what the hell's the point really discussing them right now? So that's more the sort of angle of my book. It's going to be about progressive enhancement and creating alternatives for browsers that don't support those features, using things like Modernizer, and also using various libraries to polyfill in support for features where the support doesn't exist, things like that.
We're looking forward to reading it. We know that Opera has no office in the UK, so I was wondering, where do you actually work?
Where do I work? Well, I used to work in my home office. Me and another three or four guys all live and work at home in the UK, but are employed full time by Opera. Other people include Patrick Lauker and the legendary Bruce Lawson of Naked HTML5 Mankini fame. I myself, as I say, used to have a home office, but when my second daughter got a little bit older and wanted her own room, I got kicked out and relegated to the back of the living room. So I'm currently working full time for Opera in the back of my living room, which is quite difficult when you've got three children jumping on your head and dangling off your earlobes. So I have a special kind of tunnel vision that I go into, which helps me greatly to work in these situations.
Nice, let's talk about you for a change. What's your favorite CSS attribute?
Favorite CSS attribute? That's a pretty difficult question. I think overall my favorite CSS feature is probably media queries because I'm really into the idea of making layouts adapt to different devices. I think it's a very important thing for the future of web design. But that's not really a property, so this could be a bit of a problem. Probably in terms of old school stuff, I'd probably say position, because I tend to do a lot of interesting layout features involving absolute positioning. And then in terms of the new school CSS3 stuff, I'd probably use positioning in combination with transitions and transforms to create quite a lot of interesting kind of show hide content effects.
So, animation stuff.
Yeah.
And what about HTML tag?
HTML tags. The joke answer is probably blink, because it makes me laugh that anybody could think that something that evil was such a great idea back in the old school. But of course, it did get reintroduced. What's the serious answer? I think probably the time element. I actually think it's really, really useful to have a way to unambiguously mark up time in HTML. Although that also was dropped from the spec a little while ago in favour of some specialist use of dataset attributes, but people complained and it got added back in, so that was cool. I was quite pleased with that.
Do you remember any most extreme piece of code you had to put into your website to make it work the way you wanted?
Ooh, I'm trying to think. I didn't really make that many websites back in the really, really bad old days of the browser wars and crazy forked code for websites, but I'd say probably the most messy my code ever gets these days is when I'm trying to create advanced layouts for WordPress and do interesting things with WordPress, especially when you want to do HTML5 and CSS3 stuff inside WordPress. It really does do some very weird things. For example, my band's website tends to do a very strange thing in some browsers where it starts to zoom in and out in weird ways on different parts of the screen, and I can only conclude that is down to some of the CSS3 gradients and transitions and things I'm using on the site, but it sure makes WordPress behave in weird ways. And also things like having to chop up WordPress templates and adding all of the PHP and WordPress specific stuff back into your own templates can be really difficult and hair-pulling from time to time, but I've kind of got the hang of it now.
Okay, thanks for your time and terrific answers. It was a pleasure to talk to you. We hope to see you at our festival again sometime.
Hey, thank you very much for having me. Maybe next year. I'd love to come again, so see you guys soon.